everybody, welcome back to DBS, and of course right now I want to welcome you to DBS this morning with me, your usual morning host. This is Chayla Mendez, and right now in this segment, as we continue to celebrate our Creole heritage, if you don't know what a tete cassé is, you're gonna find out right now. Good morning, St. Lucia. We are here to share more of our culture with you. As October continues, we continue to celebrate her birthday month, our Creole Heritage Month. So she is our official Creole lady. Francisca, good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm doing good. Muy bien, muy bien.
Ou bien,
Yes.
bonjour, c'est ici.
So we are here to do something very special. Again, we know she's creative. She is the owner of Destiny Designs. And today, she is going to teach us how to make the tete cassé. Now, she know I was afraid because I don't know why I always want to say tete mawe, but it's tete cassé. So, she always puts me in check. I'm always learning. So let's first talk about, the tete cassé, what it was used for back in the days, and, the significance.
Back in the days, the men used to identify the women by the tete cassé. How many pigs they had, if it's 1 pig, 2 pigs, 3 pigs, and they know who to approach, who not to approach, and things like that. So
Right.
that is how the women used to dress long ago.
Great. So let's talk about the pigs then. What represented what status?
Okay, 1 pig means that you are married.
Okay. The
That
one
is
and
one,
only.
1 pig.
Okay.
Okay, 2 together make 1. The 2 pigs, that means you are engaged.
Okay.
You are engaged to somebody, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the 3 pigs, that means you are free, single, and disengaged.
All right. So I'm in the 3 pigs
So,
neighborhood. I love that. Good stuff.
I
Now-
would wear the 3 pigs also.
Well, right now we want to bring it to St. Lucia, and you are going to show us how to make it as well. So,
Indeed, I can.
all right. So what are the things that you use or that you
Oh,
require?
what I use about a yard of madouas. I use some paper. I starch the madouas for it to be a little firm. Then I use some paper to keep the base very strong, the foundation very strong. Sometimes I use some pins to hold it up, and that's it.
Well,
Easy.
At least what you require sounds easy enough. Let's see what the expertise is, and when it comes to the actual creating part, let's see how it goes.
These days it's very people are very creative, and they can do different styles and so forth. So we take our
Give you room. Yes.
1 yard of madouas. We do a rectangle with it, right? Then we are going to take a sheet of newspaper, put it like a rectangle too. You fold it like this. You fold it. You continue folding and folding. So that will be like the base for the front, to keep the front firm. Okay? Then what I do, I push it inside of this place here. Right here. Let me push that a little. I push it right here. Then I fold it up. I do it 1, 2. Now come on, have a sit for me to do it on your head.
Look it.
Have a sit for me to do it on your head.
Okay, let me turn this way.
Yeah, turn it. So what I do, I put this on your head like this. 1 second. Eh? just bend down the 2, you have 1. See? So you have 1 pick. If you are married, that's the 1 pick. If you are married, right? If you are engaged, you have your 2 picks and you bring down the 1 pick. Okay? You notice? Yeah. Okay? And if you are free, single and disengaged, you have your 3 picks. Alright. And this is it? 3 picks. 3 single and disengaged Taylor.
That's right.
Yes. Now,
Welcome again to everybody who's joining us, and if it's your first time with the show, thank you so much for being part of our extended family here at DBS. Now, like I mentioned in the start of the show, today is observed as World Mental Health Day, and I feel personally this is something that is very much downplayed, and mental health is just as important as taking care of our physical. But if you don't believe me, we have a word here for you, so it's going to help you better understand the importance of mental health, and also a very special message from the World Health Organization, as this year's theme is to prevent suicide.
We all have mental health. It is just as important as physical health. It is not only about mental illness or mental disorders. This is just one part of a bigger picture. It's best to think about mental health as being on a continuum, rather than people being either mentally ill or mentally well. We are all on the continuum, and we move up and down according to factors such as our genetic makeup and upbringing, our life circumstances, and the stresses we are under. At one end of the continuum, we have mental disorders, like depression or anxiety. And at the other end, we have states of positive mental health, when we're thriving, content, and fulfilled. The aim of mental health interventions is to move people up the continuum, so that they're able to reach their full potential and live satisfying lives. The World Health Organization describes mental health as a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. Being mentally healthy means being resilient and able to cope with difficult times, feeling in control, being confident, feeling good about yourself, managing and expressing your emotions, building and maintaining good relationships. We all experience periods when we feel stressed, worried, anxious, sad, afraid, or angry. These are all normal emotions. However, when these emotions become severe enough that it interferes with a person's ability to function daily, and these feelings become persistent over time, then it can develop into a mental health problem. There are many different types of mental disorders. When left untreated, mental disorders can be chronic and long-lasting, and are associated with increased disability. They significantly have an impact on daily functioning and frequently interfere with family, social, and work responsibilities. Fortunately, there are effective treatments and evidence-based interventions available that aim to help individuals understand and cope with symptoms of mental illness. However, very few people with mental disorders access existing treatment services. This may be due to barriers such as the stigma attached to seeking help, the lack of understanding of mental health problems, uncertainty of how to get help, or the fear of disclosing mental health problems. Research shows that stigma remains one of the biggest factors preventing people from seeking help early for their mental health problems and getting the appropriate support they need. It is important to acknowledge that we all have mental health and have a personal responsibility to learn how we can improve and maintain our well-being in order to lead meaningful and satisfying lives.
At the World Health Organization, we give high priority to suicide prevention. So it is fitting that this year's theme of World Mental Health Day on 10th October is suicide prevention. We very much welcome this opportunity to raise global awareness of the very serious but so often neglected issue of suicide. Every 40 seconds, someone loses their life to suicide. This means that almost 800,000 lives are lost each year. And each loss is an undecipherable tragedy for the person who has lost their life and for the friends, families, colleagues, and communities who are left behind, very often without the assistance they need. Young people represent the future, and yet suicide is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 29 years old. More must be done to ensure that young people have the coping mechanisms they need to face the challenges that they encountered in school, university, and in the workplace. We must also ensure that they have access to the support they need when they need it. Suicide can affect anyone, anywhere. Contrary to popular belief, suicide is not only an issue in high-income countries. In fact, nearly 80% of suicides occur in low and middle-income countries, where the resources for identifying and supporting those in need are scarce. Strengthening mental health and care systems in all settings is imperative. For every suicide, there are 20 more attempts. People who survive a first attempt are at high risk of making a further attempt, so particular attention is needed in providing ongoing support. Fortunately, suicides are preventable. We know what works and we know what doesn't work. Raising awareness on days like World Mental Health Day present us with the opportunity to help break the stigma so that more people feel able to reach out for help. Restricting access to the means of suicide, encouraging the media to provide stories of hope and to use non-sensational language when reporting on suicide, supporting young people in schools to build life skills, and identifying the risk of suicide as early as possible in order to provide timely support are 4 key interventions that help prevent suicide. At the World Health Organization, we support governments to use their unique position to implement a national response to suicide prevention. But we all have a role to play. On World Mental Health Day, I encourage each one of you, as a friend, a partner, a parent, a colleague, a teacher, whether you work in health services or you are a first responder or work in the media. So I encourage you all to learn more about suicide prevention and reach out to those who are struggling. Together, we can save lives.
Welcome to Lesson 5 of our Neuromovement Wellness series. We have Kizzy and Patricia here with us today. Ladies, gently roll to lie on your right side. For those at home, if you need to use a blanket or mat under your head to allow for more support, you can do so, because you cannot lean onto your arms. So now place your left hand somewhere near your chest and let the elbow lean against the chest, and then your right hand is extended forward. And very gently and slowly move the left shoulder forward and back. And it's a small movement. Yes, Kizzy corrected herself because initially she was sliding the hand, but now we're just focusing on moving the shoulder forward and back. And pay attention to what is happening in your chest as you do this movement. And allow yourself to do the movement a little slower. Just be a little slower and a little gentler so that you can actually feel the movement. And notice if you feel any movement in your spine. And now slowly stop the movement and lengthen the left hand in front of you on the mat. So allow the palm of your hand to lie on the mat and begin gently pushing the left arm forward and backwards onto the mat. So it's as you're gliding the hand. So when you glide the hand forward and backwards, you don't need to bend the elbow. So you keep the hand lengthened. So the movement now will come in your shoulder area and not focus on the elbow area. So just keep the hand extended. So that way when you come back, you feel the movement in this region. And again, pay attention to your spine, pay attention to your ribs. And slowly stop the movement. Place the arm beside you and rest. And now gently place your left hand behind you. Allow the hand to touch or lean in somewhere on the mat. And now slowly and gently begin gliding the hand behind you. And just feel what is happening in the shoulder as you glide behind. So the movement is to really allow the shoulder to come back. And just notice your pace of the movement. Allow the movement to be slow and gentle. And now slowly and gently bring the elbow back to the front and you lean into your palm of the left hand and begin slowly and gently directing the shoulder, the left shoulder, forward and back. And just notice how that feels for you now. And slowly stop the movement and rest. So how do you feel now that we've completed the lesson, Kizzy?
I noticed some tightness in my neck area.
Okay, interesting. Sometimes the tightness can happen if a person does a little bit too much. Sometimes we feel that we don't push ourselves, but interestingly, it's very hard for persons to go slow. So sometimes tension can occur, and that's why throughout the lesson I will constantly ask or remind you to go slow and go gentle. Patricia?
I feel the left shoulder is a little lower, maybe a little more relaxed on this side.
So generally, persons will feel a little uneasiness on one side of the body compared to the other side, because we only worked one side today. So feel free to practice or to work on the right side at home. And thank you, ladies, for taking part in this lesson. Thank you, St. Lucia.
Thank you so much for sticking around till the end. I want to reiterate that it is World Mental Health Day. So let's try to be a little bit more kind to each other, a little bit more understanding of one another. And added to that, there's a special neuro movement class happening at the JQ Mall this evening. So don't miss it. It is absolutely free. So make sure you're there. You're part of it. You can go check out their social media page to find out much more about it. But thank you again for staying locked on. I want to say a special good morning to a viewer who I also ran into, Tori from St. Joseph's Convent in St. Anne's House. I remembered all of that. A very special good morning to you, love, and anybody else who always is loyal with the show. Thank you so much. And let's go out there. Let's take care of one another. And of course, let's take care of our mental well-being. I'll see you.